Hi guys, I'm Bob.
And I'm Rick.
And we're the Robinson Twins. In this episode of the Spanophiles Files, we're in Yosemite National Park.
Why would the Spanophiles go to Yosemite National Park? Because there are arches here.
And we'll show them to you in this episode, but first we've got something to deal with that is arch related, but we've got to clarify something. So let's go check that out.
So right off we have to do with the western entrance to Yosemite National Park, called the Arch Rock Entrance.
So this is the Arch Rock Entrance, and it's called that because of these boulders touching. But of course that is not a true arch. So the first thing we need to straighten out is that there are two features in Yosemite that have arch in the name, and this is one of them.
Arch Rock, which is next to the Arch Rock entrance station.
But as you can see, it's just two boulders touching at the top. There's no continuous arc of rock, so this is not a true arch, even though it's called Arch Rock.
Next we travel into Yosemite Valley, almost all the way to the eastern end, where there's another feature with the word arch in the name.
We're looking at a feature on the north side of Yosemite Valley called the Royal Arches. It has arches in the name, but they have the shape, but they're not true arches because there's no gap or space through to the other side.
So Yosemite Valley has two features in it that have arch in the title, Arch Rock at the entrance and the Royal Arches, and neither of them are true arches. So let's go show you the ones that are. Starting with one that's sort of iffy, but then we'll get to the true ones.
So first we'll look at the granite feature we found above Tunnel View, uphill of the famous Wawona Tunnel.
So years ago, Rick led me down this cliff above the Wawona Tunnel View.
Well, it's a slope, not a cliff.
Alright, so it's a slope, but
Becomes a cliff.
so if we head out that way, it gives us another view of the valley.
And the Merced River below.
So that's what we were after. But on the way back from that, we saw what might have been an arch, and I shot video of it. This is like 10 years ago or more. So yesterday, I went down there to see if I could confirm whether this thing that we had shot video of was an actual arch. And I wound up finding the most freakish looking granite formation I think I've ever seen. So let's go look at it and decide for yourself, is that an arch or is it not an arch?
And this will be my first time seeing it in person.
So you'll be seeing it when he does, more or less.
Yay.
The first trick to getting onto this slope is how to get over this wall. And this is really kind of the only safe spot because there's a rock right just below your feet as you sit here. So let's go check out this possible arch. Okay, here's the freakish looking granitic formation I found yesterday. Look at this thing. It goes all the way through down below, and it's got a opening here with cracks running through it.
So, does that qualify as an arch? Was that a single rock at one time and it's starting to peel apart? You know, granite does grow through exfoliation. This could be an example of exfoliation.
But it's also goes all the way through underneath. So is this a double arch?
Or is this just a boulder sitting on top of another granite surface and it flaked off here and formed an arch in the middle of itself? The world wants to know.
So on the one hand, this end of this formation could have been a boulder that planted itself in the ground, or it could be an extension of the outcrop we're surrounded by. And there's an opening underneath. Then at this end, it doesn't seem to be connected. It's just resting there. But then this appears to be resting on top of what? I don't know, because this connects at that end, but then doesn't appear connected at this end. But then it's not connected down here. So, is this an arch? Is this a double arch? Is it neither? It's just an odd formation. freakish.
It turns out after checking his video footage from over 10 years ago, this was the same rock feature that we saw 10 years ago, so this wasn't our first time finding it.
And it just seems to come to rest there. And then that part seems to just be resting on the formation. But if this crack doesn't go all the way through, then this is part of that. And that makes an arch within the big boulder that definitely looks arch-shaped and is continuous. So I would guess at this point that this is not a true arch, but it is still a pretty freaky granite formation. One of the oddest I think I've ever seen. So this is how we climb back over the fence. It's the one rock that comes up closest to the top. It's the safest place to get down and to get back up.
After checking out the area above the tunnel view, we decided to head to the first real example of an arch, and that's the east side of Tuolumne Meadow.
So normally when people go to Yosemite, they take things along for camping and so on, but you wouldn't expect people to bring their wetsuit. But I have a reason for bringing this wetsuit, and you'll see why in a little bit. Alright, so now I'm suiting up along the Tuolumne River so I can go over to that little waterfall, and right in front of it is a natural bridge. So we hope to get very excellent footage of it from underwater. Here's Rick. So this bridge here is referred to as the Finger, and it is a natural bridge right downstream from a nice little waterfall, in this case a double.
And here it is, a natural bridge underwater in the Tuolumne River. After getting some footage of the arch from the downstream side, we decided to go to the upstream side and have another look. People call the space between the bridge and the waterfalls as the Green Pool, and people have told us that they've actually gone swimming and gone under this arch. And here's a view of the underside of the waterfall.
Next, we'll take you to the Wawona area in the southern end of Yosemite National Park to visit Chilnawona Creek.
This is the highest of the waterfalls along Chilnawona Creek, and upstream from there we found another natural arch.
So one of the things that apparently lends to natural rock span making in granite is that in watercourses, the granite, in places, the current has a chance to eddy. And as it eddies, especially in high water where it's picking up grit, it can carve out these swirl basins.
This is a picture I took over 10 years ago that shows a log inside the arch.
So this is Chilnawana Creek in Yosemite National Park. And right there we can see a natural rock span made by the creek and erosional forces. To the other side of Chilnawana Creek, so you can look at this pothole. It's pretty dramatic having the waterfall right behind it. Okay, so Rick's trying to measure roughly crudely the opening with my 4-foot tripod. Pretty close to 4 feet once we measured the extent of this tripod.
But the biggest and best example of a natural arch in Yosemite is north of Yosemite Valley, off of the Tioga Pass Road or Highway 120. The Porcupine Creek Trailhead starts there and heads south towards North Dome. Along the North Dome Trail is a side trip to Indian Rock. Indian Rock is the north end of a ridge, but at the south end of that ridge is the Indian Rock Arch. From the Porcupine Creek Trailhead, it's about 3 miles to get to the arch.
Indian Rock Arch in Yosemite.
The trail leads around to the other side of the arch.
So the sun's on the other side. I'm on the north side of it, looking at the arch. From over there, right about here, you can look under the arch that way and see Half Dome. So I'll go check that out. So, the Indian Rock Arch. Enjoying the view. Standing under the arch. See, I can almost touch it, and actually I have in the past. Here's the view. Indian Rock Arch with Half Dome under.
Here are some pictures we've gotten of the arch during past visits. We've noticed that the side facing Half Dome is lit in the mornings, and the side facing away from Half Dome is lit in the afternoons all the way to sunset.
So, looking up at the Indian Rock Arch up there, enjoying the view, Half Dome that way, and it's now lit up by the morning sun, so it's more scenic this way, having the light. But that's an arch, and it's formed by exfoliation, granite peeling off, probably on either side, in the center, somehow just staying in place. So it's an arch. No other view combines our love of Yosemite and of natural rock spans better than this.
Thanks for watching. Now be sure to like and subscribe.